In this mini lesson, we want to figure out how to solve a triangle if I don't know the angle. What if I know two sides, but I don't know the third side, and I don't know either angle inside? It's pretty simple. So first we're going to find out the angles, because that's the trickier part. So we got to pick one of the angles. Let's pick R. After picking R, we say, hey, compared to R, 14 is adjacent. It's right next to it. 57 is right next to it too, but it's the big side, so we call that the hypotenuse. So again, here we have A and we have H, and A over H is equal to cosine of the angle. Again, we have our magic word, so ka-toa, and A and H only appear in that middle section, ka. So the cosine of the angle is A over H. Well, A I know is 14, the H we said is 57. That equals the cosine of the angle. Well, if I do that division, I get the answer 0.2456. This number is equal to the cosine of the angle. Well, I don't really want the cosine of the angle. I just want that angle number. So what I have to do is uncosine this angle or uncosine this math, whichever way you want it. I think it's easier to just start from this point. So what we really want to do is hit second cosine on our calculator. That will pop up cosine to the -1. And then inside the parentheses, I just want to stick this math. So I'm just going to do the 14 over the 57. On the other hand, we could have also stuck this answer inside the parentheses. Either one will give me the exact same answer because, of course, they're equivalent. So if I hit second cosine and I go 14 divided by 57, close that parentheses, that will give me a grand total of 76 degrees. We always round our degrees to the nearest whole number. It makes things easier for a couple other things down the line. So here we're just going to round to the nearest whole degree. So R is going to be 76. Now if we switch to Q on the other hand, now suddenly 14 is not adjacent, 14 is opposite. 57 of course is still the hypotenuse. So if this is my hypotenuse up at 57 and 14 is my opposite, if I have O and H, suddenly now I have to use sine. So I'm saying sine of the angle is O over H. So I say the sine of I don't know, that's my Q, is equal to the opposite, which we said is 14 over the adjacent, or the hypotenuse, which was 57. So again, I'm going to stick that in parentheses. I'm going to hit sine to the -1 to try and find my angle because I don't know my angle. Whenever I don't know the angle, I hit second sine. So all I got to do is go second sine, and then 14 divided by 57 inside the parentheses, and we get a grand total of 14 degrees. So Q up here is going to be 14 degrees. Now, how do we find Z? Well, Z is over here. If I know one side and I know the other side and I'm looking for the third side, here we get to use Pythagorean's theorem. So I know some of you get really excited because that's the only part of these triangle things that you have success with. So you're going to be happy here. So of course, Pythagorean's theorem here is going to be Z squared plus the 14 squared equals the 57 squared, because we're always looking at the two sides equaling the big side. So Z squared plus 14 squared is 57 squared. The opposite of plus is minus. So Z squared is going to equal 57 squared minus 14 squared. And after we do that, of course, we want to square root that answer to just get Z. And after square rooting that, we find that Z is equal to 55, which of course should be smaller than our hypotenuse. It's not a whole lot smaller, but at 14 degrees up here, they're pretty close here, and this is going to be a smaller side. So that's the way it works to work out a triangle if we know no angle, if we know two sides on the other hand. Let's try another one. Let's say this is 27. Oops, we don't want angles, right? What a crazy math. Let's say that this is 27 and this is 42. And this is H for hypotenuse, and this is P, and this is Q, and we want to find out what these are. Of course, that's 90. Now, again, we have to pick one of our angles. So the angle I want to pick this time is P. Compared to P42 is adjacent. Compared to P27 is opposite. If we have opposite and adjacent, that's tangent. Again, since I'm looking for the angle, I want to do tangent to the -1. And then inside I do what tangent is. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. So the opposite side was 27. The adjacent side is 42. So if I just do tan -1, or second tangent, 27 divided by 42. Again, anytime we do sine, cosine, or tangent, we have to be in degree mode. So check your calculator the first time you use it. That's going to give me 33 degrees. If, on the other hand, I am looking for Q, now suddenly 42 is the opposite side, and 27 here is the adjacent side. So I'm still going to use tangent to the -1, but now my opposite side is 42, and the adjacent side is 27, so it's kind of the inverse of the one we did in red there. And if we do second tangent, 42 divided by 27, we find that we get an angle of 57 degrees. So a good way to check to see if you're doing these angle things right is these are complementary angles. They should add up to 90. And what do you know? 33 plus 57 does in fact add up to 90. If we're looking for H of course is the hypotenuse. I know this side, I know this side. So I'm going to use Pythagorean's theorem for that. So if we're going to Pythagorize this thing, again, the two sides squared equals the hypotenuse squared. So we're going to have 27 squared plus 42 squared equals H squared. So we don't have any algebra to do there. And after squaring, of course, and adding them, we need to square root that answer. So square root the answer, and we come up with 49.92995. And of course here, this only had 2 sig figs and 2 sig figs, so we would round that out to 50. Beautiful, right? So that's the way we do triangles when we do not know the angle. So that's all there is to it. These triangles are really pretty simple.